Uncertainty continues in Kenya following Thursday's presidential election rerun. Vote counting continues in the country with early results showing Uhuru Kenyatta in the lead. The incumbent president was the only major candidate, though, since the opposition boycotted the election. On Sunday, opposition leader Raila Odinga called on his supporters to stay calm in the Nairobi slum of Kibera. But on the same day, he addressed his supporters at a church in the capital, and his message there appeared to contradict his later call for calm.
Kenyans have seen the circus from the ruling party, but Kenyans are not stupid. Even observers and diplomats who live here and pretend to be our friends, some of them are aligned to the other side. But when the truth is revealed, falsehood disintegrates. We will speak as the NASA opposition coalition and give directions. We have a cat that has become a wildcat, a cat that eats chicks. We are not sure whether to use a rope, a knife, to figure out where we are.
Well, let's get you the very latest on those developments. I'm joined live from Nairobi by CGTN's Robert Nagila. Also joining us from the opposition stronghold of Kisumu is Susan Wangeli. Robert, let's start with you first. Can you talk us through the developments at the main counting centre today? Any announcement by the Electoral Commission so far?
Absolutely. Well, Karen, a short while ago, the Electoral Commission Chairman, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, addressed the media. This was basically in regards to a narrative that has been perpetuated on social media surrounding the turnout of voters 2 days ago in this election. Now, he says that they will give a final figure on the turnout once they've completed giving out the final results. But on the final results themselves, as we speak, verified results from 259 constituencies have been released, so we're expecting another 6. Now, this was supposed to be released at about 8:30 this evening. However, about 2 minutes ago, the Electoral Commission came out again and said that they have received those results, but they now need to be verified, so they will be releasing those results tomorrow. So we expect the final results of this presidential rerun to be released at some point tomorrow morning. Karen?
Okay, Robert, thank you for that update. Now we'll return to you, but now let's go to Susan. Both a call for calm and strong words there from opposition leader Raila Odinga. How have his supporters in Kisumu responded to that?
Well, of course, here in Kisumu, everybody here is very keen when opposition leader Raila Odinga speaks. And today, everybody was listening to that speech. And they've really welcomed that speech, saying that indeed Raila is giving them confidence to continue with their clamor for their push for reforms. And basically, they've welcomed it, and they say they're going to keep up pressure on the IEBC to have reforms. And at the same time, they're going to push for no elections in this area. Now, today has been really calm. There's really not been much happening, and we took that opportunity to go to the main city hospital, where we were able to interact with some of the victims there, listening to their stories. And many of them, we did see that they had suffered some serious injuries, some internal, according to some of the nurses that we spoke to, some also had internal injuries. And also we saw quite a number of people who had just come out of theater after going through an operation to get out bullets. Many of them had bullet wounds. But just generally, we spoke to them, and even after speaking to them, many of them, they still seem defiant, and then they say they will push, will they continue to push for reforms. And basically, Kisumu has paid the price for this. They've paid a price for the demonstrations that have been happening, but everybody is really determined to ensure that they keep this up and ensure that there will be no elections here in Kisumu.
Okay, Susan, we'll return to you in a moment. Now, back to you, Robert. Can the Electoral Commission actually announce a final result while so many regions in the country haven't yet voted?
Well, Karen, It's not so many regions within the country itself, because Kenya has 291 constituencies. Now, the number of constituencies that were unable to hold elections are 25, and these are primarily, as you rightly put it, in opposition strongholds in Western Kenya. So we were expecting the Electoral Commission to make that announcement this evening. On Saturday, they had announced that they would be meeting today to chart the way forward and set a date as to when those elections would be held. However, today, this evening, when the Electoral Commission chairman spoke, he said that a decision had not been reached as yet, and they would be making an announcement on when those elections would be held tomorrow. Now, as you know, as my colleague Susan was saying, the people, the opposition supporters in those 4 counties are against these elections being held in those areas. So it remains to be seen, after that date has been set, how exactly they intend to go about it. They're going to need assurances of security. They're going to need assurances of security not just around their staff, but around the ballot material as well. So this really is up in the air. But in terms of the final announcement of the results, that will still be made, despite the fact that we've not had elections in those 4 counties. You look at the figures itself, the results from those 4 counties, when the elections are finally held, if they're held at all, will not have much of an impact on who the winner in this election will be, which is the incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta. Karen?
Okay, Robert, thank you very much for that. Now, finally, over to you, Susan. The opposition is due to announce its next move on Monday, tomorrow. We don't know what that will be yet, but is there a chance of more trouble in Kisumu?
Well, it's really hard to tell until we hear from opposition leader Raila Odinga what he's going to tell his supporters tomorrow. But basically, as much as many people here are defiant and they want to keep up with the push for reforms, there's also some fatigue among some of these people. There are those people who just want to get on and move on with their lives. So there was a proposal that some of them are just saying, they wish that these 2 principals, that is Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, can just sit down and agree on a way forward. But just basically we have to wait until tomorrow just to hear what Raila Odinga will tell his supporters. But trouble might come up if the IEBC will be announcing a date for elections here, because that's what people have said that they want to hear none of. So it's more of if the IEBC should come up with dates and say that indeed elections will have to take place here, then we do know that we'll have quite a bit of trouble, because people have said that there's no way elections are going to happen here.